My name is Caspian, a name that now feels like an inscription on a tombstone, marking a man who once existed but has long been buried. There was a time when along the sun-drenched, wealth-soaked coast of Southern California, this name signified an enviable success. I didn't come from old money, nor did I inherit any family legacy. Everything I had, I built from nothing, riding the ferocious digital wave of the early 21st century with my wits and relentless hustle. My business, to use a trendy term, was curated e-commerce. I forged exclusive connections with independent designers and artisanal workshops in the ancient, insular fashion enclaves of Europe, creators who turned their noses up at big department stores. Through my meticulously crafted website and private membership channels, I sold these handcrafted, story-laden luxury goods to America's ultra-wealthy, those who'd grown bored of assembly line products. In an era when social media was just baring its fangs, revealing its terrifying commercial potential, I caught every trend with precision. Wealth, for me, ceased to be a reward for hard work. It became as natural as breathing. In my garage sat a sleek black Lamborghini Aventador and an elegant Bentley Continental. They weren't rented props for photo shoots. The legal titles bore the name Caspian in black and white. I lived in a modern Newport Beach villa, its massive floor-to-ceiling glass walls opening to a private yacht dock and the ever-shifting Pacific Ocean. Every weekend, my house transformed into a magnet, drawing a kaleidoscope of characters: statuesque models, influencers with millions of followers, aspiring rappers chasing overnight fame, and other new money types like me, who'd amassed fortunes in tech, finance, or some gray area. We sipped champagne that cost a year's salary for most, the air thick with expensive cologne and the faint whiff of weed. Our conversations revolved around the latest cryptocurrency, the next investment that could double your wealth, and whether to book the entire penthouse at Caesar's Palace or the Bellagio for our next Vegas trip. Back then, wrapped in that glittering bubble, I genuinely believed I was the master of the universe, a player who could move pieces across fate's chessboard at will. I thought my brains, my guts, and my damn near infallible luck meant there was nothing in this world I couldn't have. Now, sitting in this cramped rental apartment, with the noisy streets of downtown LA and the blare of a neighbor's TV filtering through the window, I see that confidence for what it was: the reckless arrogance of the ignorant. It numbs you to risk, convinces you you're the exception to the rules, and when you stare into the abyss, it fools you into thinking that darkness is brimming with opportunity. That mindset is the smoothest, widest road to hell. My first encounter with the website that would eventually devour everything happened at one of my own parties. It was a quintessential Southern California summer night, the sea breeze carrying a faint saltiness, the pool's blue lights casting a dreamlike glow over the backyard. A friend named Julian, someone like me, who'd struck it rich early by betting on Bitcoin and scoffed at traditional business models, stumbled over, shoving his phone into my hand. The screen displayed a sleek, professional interface, a live Baccarat game unfolding with flashing numbers and smooth animations that rivaled any top-tier mobile game. Slurring his words, he bragged, "Caspian, man, check this out. This is way faster than waiting for your picky clients to confirm delivery. In just a few minutes, I won a brand new Tesla Model S." I smirked and handed the phone back. Gambling wasn't new to me. In Vegas, I was a regular in the VIP rooms of high-end hotels, but for me, it was more of a business move, a way to maintain my high-roller persona. Losing or winning a few $100,000 was just part of the evening's entertainment, the price of admission. I never saw it as a way to make money. I told Julian, "I don't need this. My business is my casino, and I'm always the house." I meant it. At the time, my e-commerce platform was at its peak, pulling in millions in monthly revenue with profit margins that would make any traditional retailer weep. My cash flow was as healthy as a pro athlete's EKG. What I loved was the thrill of nailing a market trend, leveraging my aesthetic foresight and understanding of human nature to achieve commercial success, not leaving my fate to a cold deck of cards. But I overlooked something critical: the spiritual void that creeps in when material desires are endlessly fulfilled. It's a black hole that silently forms at the center of your life. You get everything you once stayed up all night craving. Then what? That post-achievement emptiness drives you to chase stronger, more extreme thrills, just to prove your increasingly numb heart can still pound. The fatal turning point came on a stifling August afternoon, the heat making me restless. I had a meeting with a key European supplier at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Beverly Hills to discuss a contract renewal. I arrived a full hour early. LA's infamous traffic, for once, was miraculously clear. I parked my Bentley in the restaurant's private lot, the AC humming softly, but a nameless irritability gnawed at me. The contract details were already finalized by my team. This meeting was just a ceremonial show for the bosses. I picked up my phone, intending to skim business news, but my fingers, as if with a mind of their own, typed the name of Julian's website into the search bar. The site was easy to find. Its interface was even slicker than my company's, the user experience infuriatingly seamless. Signing up was brain-dead simple, no cumbersome ID checks, just an email and phone number. Using a debit card tied to a secondary account, I cautiously deposited $20,000, telling myself it was just to kill an hour until the uptight German supplier arrived. I picked Baccarat, simple rules, fast pace, perfect for the instant gratification I craved. I started small, betting 1,000 or two, testing the waters. Wins and losses traded off, my balance hovering around $20,000. It felt dull compared to the electric atmosphere of a real casino, with its crowds, booze, and dealers' glances. Here, it was just me and the cold numbers on the screen, stripped of all pretense. Just as I was about to close the tab, bored, I lost big. I'd pushed $10,000 onto banker, but the screen showed player winning. My balance was halved in an instant. A surge of defiance, like an electric shock, coursed through me. It wasn't the money. I could spend that much on liquor for a single party. It was the loss itself. In my world, I hadn't tasted defeat in so long. My success, my charmed life, had convinced me I was destiny's favorite. Without a second's hesitation, I hit the deposit button, pumping another $20,000 into the account. In a near-vindictive frenzy, I went all in, betting the full $30,000 on banker. I stared at the virtual table, my heart pounding louder than the classical music from my car's speakers. Those few seconds felt longer, more agonizing, than waiting for any multimillion-dollar deal to close. The virtual cards flipped. Player, 8, banker, 3. I lost again. My mind went blank, then erupted in a burning, humiliating rage. This wasn't about money anymore. It was an insult to my vaunted judgment, a mockery of my so-called chosen one luck. I lost all reason, my hard-earned calm and cunning shattered. Like a madman, my eyes bloodshot, I frantically tapped the screen, depositing, betting, watching the numbers zero out, then depositing again. Outside, Beverly Hills sparkled with leisurely opulence, but I was being dragged into a lightless, soundless vortex. By the time I'd lost $120,000, my phone's shrill ring snapped me out of it. My assistant, reminding me the German supplier had arrived. It was like a bucket of ice water dumped over my head. I took deep breaths, steadying my adrenaline-shaking body, closed the cursed website, and rubbed my stiff face. As I walked to the restaurant, I slipped back into my signature confident smile, as if the desperate gambler in the car belonged to another universe. The meeting went smoothly. The Germans praised my professionalism and vision. But I was a puppet, my soul adrift. My mind replayed those red-green numbers and damned cards. For the first time, I realized a failure could so easily, so thoroughly, demolish the pride I'd built over years. Still clinging to some shred of sanity, I told myself it was a fluke, an expensive game, nothing more. My company's cash flow was a mighty river. $120,000 was a single hair off the beast. But the devil doesn't deal in one-off trades. Its specialty is offering a glimmer of false hope at your lowest, just enough to pull you deeper. The next night, lying on my $50,000 mattress in my Beverly Hills mansion, I couldn't sleep. That $120,000 loss was a poison barb in my heart. I couldn't stand going to bed with such a humiliating defeat. It became an obsession, a stain I had to erase. I gave in, crept to my study, and reopened the website. I made the gambler's classic, doomed vow, win back what I lost, then quit for good. Whether it was uncanny luck or the site's algorithms reading my desperate-to-break-even psychology and staging a tailored trap, that night I felt like a movie gambling god. Every bet was divinely guided, nearly every wager a win. My balance climbed from zero with intoxicating speed, past $120,000, landing at $160,000. Not only had I recouped my losses, I'd netted $40,000. When the withdrawal hit my bank account, the notification chime ringing in the silent study, a volcanic rush of euphoria drowned out all reason. This high was unlike the satisfaction of business success. It was a higher dimension of thrill. Business required long-term strategy, complex networking, and patient market cultivation. This, a few bold clicks, and money flooded in, raw and immediate. It was pure mental heroin, hitting the brain's reward center, making you feel you'd transcended traditional value creation. It convinced me fatally that I, Caspian, had cracked a faster, superior wealth code. I wasn't gambling. I was playing a higher-level financial game with my genius and daring. From that moment, I was hooked, pathologically addicted. I believed I was the one-in-a-million prodigy who could crack the hidden patterns behind the odds, the chosen one to beat probability itself. I poured in more time, energy, and money. By day, in my company's skyscraper office overlooking LA, my top team debated next quarter's marketing and branding, while I, the founder, hid my phone under the table, eyes glued to shifting odds and spreads. The business plans that once thrilled me now felt dull, slow, a waste of my precious gaming time. But fate doesn't follow a gambler's script. The good luck, like a meteor in a summer night sky, flashed briefly, gave false hope, then vanished, leaving me in deeper darkness. My e-commerce empire, my once endless blue ocean, turned blood red. New platforms sprouted like weeds, undercutting me with lower fees and aggressive marketing. European luxury brands tightened their grip on online channels, squeezing my supply chain. Unpredictable trade policies further crushed my margins. For the first time, my financials showed a downward curve. I felt the pressure of cash flow for the first time. The old Caspian, the driven, ambitious entrepreneur, would have seen this as a challenge, a chance to reinvent the company. I'd have flown to Europe, negotiated with brand heads, scouted untapped markets, fought tooth and nail for my empire. But gambling's fast money had rotted my mind. I grew lazy, impatient, short-sighted. I didn't want to grind for long-term gains anymore. I naively, stupidly, thought I could erase quarters of losses in one night at the virtual table, effortlessly sustaining my lavish lifestyle. So, with twisted satisfaction, I fell into the oldest, deadliest gambler's trap, trying to fix the last bet's damage with a bigger, newer bet. The real nightmare began. I entered a losing streak with no end. I can't explain it. Maybe the site's algorithms marking me a high-value client tweaked the odds against me, or maybe my desperate mindset warped my judgment. The bigger I bet, the worse I lost. It was like drowning, grasping for a lifeline but clutching slippery seaweed that dragged me deeper. I once lost 30 straight Baccarat hands, a record that terrified me. That relentless, hopeless failure could break anyone's psyche. A faint voice of reason whispered to stop, to save myself from ruin, but my emotions, a raging lunatic, seized control, screaming to bet everything. My house, my cars, my family, my future, on one illusory final comeback. My personal savings, once a comforting row of digits ensuring lifelong security, vanished into an invisible black hole at unimaginable speed. In just a year, I lost over $5 million on that site. $5 million. Once, it was just a pleasing number in my account. But losing it this way revealed its true weight. It was countless sleepless nights revising business plans, exhausting flights across time zones for key deals, years of sacrificing family time and hobbies. Now it was gone, dissolved in meaningless clicks on a glowing screen, without even a sound. My life spiraled out of control. I stopped going to the company I'd built, avoiding the trusting eyes of my employees. I locked myself in my villa's study, curtains drawn, a wounded beast licking festering wounds in the dark, dreaming of a miraculous recovery. I stared at screens, eyes bloodshot from sleeplessness and strain. My wife, Ilana, who once looked at me with adoration for my talent and success, now gazed with confusion, worry, and estrangement. She started asking why large, unexplained sums were leaving the company accounts, why I was up at 3 a.m. in the study, elated over small wins or smashing things in rage over losses. I lied to cover lies, claiming the company was navigating a complex multinational merger, needing hefty cash reserves. I used my business acumen to forge convincing contracts and bank statements to quell her doubts. Though uneasy, Ilana's trust in me and her unfamiliarity with my business led her to believe me. She'd touch my gaunt face and say, "Caspian, don't push yourself too hard. Money isn't everything, your health matters most." Her kindness cut me like a knife, filling me with guilt and torment. But I couldn't stop. A true gambler is a broken machine. While there's a single coin left or a dollar to borrow, they'll always believe the next bet is the turning point. I drained the company's cash flow, then touched our family savings. Our son Orion's education fund for top private schools and Ivy League. Our parents' retirement nest egg. Wealth built over 2 generations of hard work. In the dead of night, I'd transfer chunks to the gambling site, swearing each time it was the last, promising to win it back and quit for good. But every time, I lost more catastrophically. My empire, bled dry by my absence and recklessness, teetered. Before it collapsed, I quietly shut it down, using the last funds to pay severance to employees and settle supplier debts, a final shred of dignity. I couldn't let those who trusted me lose everything because of my fall. To the world, I claimed I was tired of corporate games, retiring early to travel and enjoy life. Friends lauded my bold choice on social media, envying my financial freedom at such a young age. None knew I was a hollow shell, outwardly polished but inwardly gutted and drowning in debt.